Gabriel, and this is Black Horse Comics Weekly Review, episode 30-something rather. We talk about last week's comics, this week's comics, as well as some news if I would have looked it up because we've been busy this week with Free Comic Book Day. Did you go to Comic Book Day at your local comic book shop? Did you come to Black Horse Comics? Let us know what you picked up. Alright, so let's get started with last week's comics. Alright, so first up, we're going to start off right away with our kids comic, Space Battle Lunchtime, because it's amazing. Me and my daughter, we like to watch the Food Network, and we like to watch a lot of the baking shows. Did you know they have a baking show right now for kids? Not necessarily a baking show, it's actually a cooking show for kids. Kind of like the one where they have the basket and you got to open it up and you have all the secret ingredients. It's like that, but for kids. And it's amazing because you'll see the kids do more for each other than the adults ever would, and I love seeing that. I love seeing kids help each other out. Anywho, moving on. Space Battle Lunchtime. It's about this lady. Her name is, I forgot, Mechaka McCheekerson. Okay, we're gonna call her Sue because I can't remember her name. So it's about Sue. She works at a bakery. She makes cupcakes, right? And one day she's just there with her employee making cupcakes. It's a regular morning, and a frog lady walks in looking to purchase cupcakes. And she's asking about what cupcakes are available. And her employee, like the frog lady, takes a phone call, steps away from the counter for a minute. The employee tells Sue, is she wearing a frog costume? She's like, I don't know, as long as she's buying cupcakes. So she asks Sue, you know, would you be interested in doing a cook show for the world, for the universe? And she's like, sure, I'll do a cooking show. And she says, okay. And she gets back on the phone. The frog lady says, beam us up. And just automatically, Sue and the frog lady are, boof, they're gone. And the assistants there just, hello, hello. And so what happens is Sue and the frog lady are transported onto this ship. And on this ship, Sue's like, well, I didn't know it was the entire universe. I thought you were being figurative. And so she's on the ship, and she finds out that she's on a cooking show with all these universal chefs, and she has to make some kind of meal just like that, where you open up the basket and you find out what's in there, the mystery, whatever it is, and she has to make the meal based on that. And that's where the issue leaves off at the very end, her opening this basket and finding this egg thing. I don't know. It's a good, funny comic. If you're into that type of cooking show thing, check it out. That was our kids comic that we checked out first. Usually we go through the adult comics and we go to the kids comic, but I want to show you that one first because it's fun. It's super fun. And this week it was so hard to pick out all the comics. There were so many good comics. Suicide Squad number 20, Green Lantern, finished off the Green Lantern series, Flash number 51 with the Riddler. Oh, there were so many good comics this week. It was really hard to pick one or pick five. But I tried my best. I went through them. Alright, so next up, we got Bloodlines, issue 2. Now this is kind of a revision of an original or a older 90s DC storyline, and this one's a little bit different. This one's totally gory, totally bloody, just, you know, stuff to the walls, crazy. And in the first issue, it had us finding one of the Bloodline characters, went to a party, and he's a crippled guy, has the walkers with him, and him and his friend, his friend's the football guy, you know, the quarterback, star athlete, and all that good stuff. They go to this party, they're best friends, and they're attacked by this wildebeest creature. I don't know how to explain it. It's antler. This is issue 1 I'm talking about. Antlers, everything. He's about to destroy the little guy with the walker thing, and the football star comes and tackles it and tells his friend, go, save yourself. And the friend's trying to leave, and he sees that deer thing is just mauling his friend and ripping him apart. And he just becomes this creature and tears the thing apart. And so in this issue, it picks up at that boy's funeral. And there's the guy sitting on one side of the pew and the whole football team on the other pew right across from him. And they're just staring him down this whole time, giving these dirty looks, saying it's his fault. How could their friend die and he live? And just, you know, just being mean to this guy. And he's trying to control the urge of him to change that blue creature, whatever it is. And that's kind of where that leaves off with that guy. Then it shows us another character that we're going to get to know into this whole Bloodline storyline. It's only 6 issues long, and this is issue 2. So I hope they're not spending the entirety of the series just getting to know these characters just to drop it. But in this issue, we see this little girl. This little girl's at a birthday party. And it's not her birthday party, but she's just a spoiled little girl who right away, once I read this comic, I wanted to spank her. And maybe spank her mom for letting her be like that. But she was like, I want to open these presents. And her mom's like, you know, this is not your birthday party. It's the girl's birthday party. You know, the girl gets to do what she wants to do. She's like, well, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. And she goes and she starts grabbing the presents. And the brother of the little girl, the little brother comes, this is my sister's presents. I leave her presents alone. And so they're fighting over their presents, and the little girl's like, no, it's mine, I want it all. And then she has this demonic voice bubble because, you know, that's how you know it's a demonic voice bubble, when it's got 2 outlines of red and black. And so she has this voice, it comes over, and then this giant creature just comes out of her, and it just starts tearing everyone apart, just blood everywhere, just rips the little boy in half, starts ripping all the children pieces everywhere, pizza everywhere. And so you have that, and she's there with her presents, with the girl's presents, say, oh, I've always wanted one of these. And that creature's just mauling everyone in the back. It's crazy. So, you know, this Bloodline story by DC's kind of got my interest peaked. DC's got some really cool storylines. Let's just the Omega Man. The Omega Man, if you haven't read that series, it's a really good series, and it's going to be coming to an end soon. So check that one out if you like that, you know, more serious aspect of a comic book. Bloodlines, Omega Man, be the way to go. All right, next up, Lady Mechanica, issue number 1. This is the Lost Boys of West Abbey, because Lady Mechanica had her own series in the past. So the Lost Boys of West Abbey, it's about some orphan boys are going missing. If you're familiar with Lady Mechanica, she is the daughter of a demon who was experimented on. They cut off her limbs and gave her these mechanical legs and mechanical arms. So now she's just this BA lady who goes and fights evil. So she goes to find where these boys are disappearing to, and this is during Victoria time England, except it's all steampunky. So you have these robotic aperture things going on everywhere. And what's happening is there's this toy maker who's creating these little robot bears, and he's using black magic as well, and somehow inserting the souls of the boys into these bear apparatuses that he's created. And so they're going to find that, and her and her partner are working on that, and they find the lab, but that's about it. So that's kind of where that issue leaves off. There's some things that happen at the very end. A little girl's in danger for her life, and that's the end of issue 1. So check it out. That's Lady Mechanica, issue number 1, The Lost Boys of West Abbey. All right, so next up, Batman Superman issue number 32. It's going to have the dynamic duo, or the dynamic duo, I'm sorry, the dynamic trio of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman going to China, hunting down this alleged clone of Superman that's been attacking people, because if you read the last issue, there was a doctor, I can't remember her name, but she got some DNA from Superman and created this clone-like creature. And also, consecutively at the same time, in Adventure Comics, there's a clone of Superman that just wrecked shop, that thought he was Superman. I mean, glowing, weird kind of deal. Walked in as Clark Kent, because remember, this is Clark Kent as Superman. Everybody knows that Clark Kent Superman walks into the Daily Planet. They're like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Hey, you're not exactly right, because he's glowing. And so he starts saying, I'm Superman, I have to be here. And he starts punching everybody, knocking people out. And so anyway, that was Adventure Comics. Now in this, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are chasing down this creature. And Superman, of course, Superman's dying still. Superman's dying. Maybe for real this time. And so they're chasing him down. They meet the Protectors of China, the something 10, I can't remember their name. They meet up with them, and they start fighting, and it's a pretty cool fight. Somewhere along the way, one of the Chinese fighters loses a medallion that kind of controls their berserker rage, and Superman gives it back. And the Beast is sedated again, and he calms down. They're like, thank you for helping our friend. Okay, let's call a truce. So they call a truce, and they find out what they're there for. And they're saying, you know, why have you come to our land, and what are you doing? And they explain what they're doing. and they work together to find this doctor and find what they're doing, and they find the clone that she created. And at the very end, she releases the clone, and so the Chinese producers are like, you know what, this is a Chinese matter. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. Y'all go back to the U.S., and that's it. So that's the end of that story. We have this new clone that's just on the loose. And at the very end, we find Lois Lane sitting in the apartment in Metropolis. And the glowing Superman guy creature that thinks he's Clark Kent comes back to Lois. And she's like, oh, my God, he should be locked up in Argus right now. He must have broke out somehow. And he's like, hi, Lois, can I talk to you? He's kind of just weird like that. And so she's out on the balcony talking to him at the very end, very last panel. So we're going to find out what's happened, and the Adventure Comics is going to pick up right there. All right, so that was that. Lastly, issue number 1, Dungeons and Dragons, Shadows of the Vampire, Part 1. This is going to be a short run series, and this is a totally thick comic for $4.99. It's totally worth it. Again, I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan, and this one's going to have the characters from Legends of Baldur's Gate. You're going to have Minsk and Boo, which was his hamster, his gigantic galactic supersized miniature hamster. And you also have Krydel and Shandy and Delina. Delina was a short halfling. So you got all these characters back together, and they're been summoned to a church, and this church has been plagued at night by creatures, by something that they weren't sure of. And so they go and they find out that they stay there at night, and they find out that it's werewolves attacking them. And they were there with one of the, not necessarily a daughter of one of the clerics, but a dark cleric who's there protecting the church as well. And she's like, why did you summon them? I could have took care of this myself. I'm like, well, we need the help. And so the priest leaves them at night. They get attacked. They take the dark cleric. They also take Boo, who is Mink's little hamster. Boo jumps onto the girl. The werewolves take her. They go and they're like, okay. They take the girl and like, okay, look at all these relics, because they stole all the relics from the church. And like, look at these relics and tell us which one has a spell of protection cast upon it so it can protect us. And so Minsk and the other adventurers, they find Boo, because Boo escaped. And Boo took them back to where they are holding the young lady and the death cleric. And so they go to the death cleric. They save her, so they think. And doing so, they kind of break the relic that was giving protection to everyone. And they say, oh, it's too late. He's here now. He's going to get us all. We're all doomed. And they're like, what do you mean we're all doomed? And they say, he's here, the Lord of Ravencroft. And if you've been playing D&D, you know that recently in the 5th edition, they had a new expansion pack come out that coincides with Magic the Gathering's Shadows over Innistrad. They have the Curse of Strahd, which is about the Lord of Ravencroft. It's a vampire. So at the very end of this shadow, they get, taken from one spot to another real quick. And they're now stuck in the Lord of Ravencroft's castle. So they're going to fight it out there. So it's pretty cool that they're interconnecting between Wizards of the Coast and IDW. They're connecting all these together. So that was that. That's Shadows of the Vampire, Dungeons & Dragons, issue number 1. It's going to be a short run series. Check that one out. All right, so that was last week's comics. Again, like I said, there's a lot of comics that came out last week. A lot of really good stuff. I mean, this was just me kind of saying, I can't pick this one out of the pile of good stuff that there was. Yeah, so let me know what you read last week that you really enjoyed. All right, so let's talk about this week's comics. All right, so this week's comics, there's a lot of great comics out again this week. So let's just get started highlighting some of the good ones that are really coming out. You know what? I forgot to say this too. Last week, 4001 by Valiant came out, issue number 1. It was really good. You know I'm a big Valiant fan. I always try to have one in there. It just wasn't one that I picked when I did that whole blind grab thing. But 4001 from Valiant came out last week. Also, this week coming out is 4001 XO Man of War. It's going to be the crossover, because this is going to be a big Valiant-wide crossover event, the 4001 event. So this is going to be 4001 XO Man of War. Archer and Armstrong, issue number 3. Again, one of my favorite buddy cop type scenarios. Archer and Armstrong, between them and Power Man and Iron Fist, they are, the ultimate all-time buddy cops. Action Comics number 52. This is a tie-in to the final days again, because Superman's dying. What? Action Lab, Dog of Wonder, issue number 1. So Action Lab has a whole bunch of comics coming out along with an Actionverse as well. They're tying into each other. Actionverse issue number 5. Adventure Time issue number 52. New one that's starting up next week, Adventures of Supergirl. And this is going to be loosely tied into the TV series. It's supposed to be a good series. I'm looking forward to reading it because I really enjoyed the Supergirl TV show. Let me know, have you enjoyed it? It has that brightness and that hope that I had wanted the DC movies to have in their Superman. They didn't really have it, but they have it in the Supergirl TV show. So I really enjoyed it so far. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 5. Also, we're coming up issue number 1, starting off a 5-part series. Back to the Future, Citizen Brown, number 1. So this is going to be all about Doc Brown in this series. So check that one out. It's coming out next week, or this week, I'm sorry. Batman number 52. Black Panther issue number 2. I don't know if you read Black Panther number 1, but that one was really good. So check that one out. Catwoman number 52. Constantine Hellblazer number 12. Constantine's always a good series. If you like that mystic art type stuff that deals into the comics, Constantine's your man. Darth Vader issue number 20, because Darth Vader has by far been the best Star Wars series out. Again, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. DC Bombshells issue number 12. Deadpool issue number 11. Faster Than Light issue number 6, which has been an interesting series. Green Lantern Corps, Edge of Oblivion, number 5, and that's a 6-part series, so that's coming to an end soon. It's going to reboot with the whole DC Rebirth. That's not in the reboot. Guardians of the Galaxy number 8. Gwenpool number 2, which again, like I told y'all last time, if you bought issue 0, I'm sorry. It was just a compilation of all the issues that she's come out before. So, but Gwenpool issue 1 was good. So Gwenpool issue 2, I'm looking forward to reading. Just because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, it is something different, and I really enjoy that. Harrow County, issue number 12, which has been good. Got a thumbs up for Colin Bunn, man. That's been great. Max Maximize. Are you still reading Max? Do you remember Max? Remember the old MTV cartoon show of Max? That was amazing. It continues on in Max Maximize, the comic book, so check that one out. Also another one that's starting up, Penny Dreadful, the comic book series is starting up with issue number 1 starting this week. Couple more, Sonic the Hedgehog number 281, because it's Sonic the Hedgehog, man. Also Star Trek number 57, Starfire number 12, and then another one that's starting up, Stargate Atlantis, Back to Pegasus, issue number 1. So if you're a big Stargate fan, time to hop on that comic book wagon and check that one out. Lastly, we got Teenage Mutant Turtles number 58. That's for the ongoing series. And then Vision number 7, because Vision has been really good. So we're looking forward to seeing that one go. So that's what's coming up next week. Again, there's a lot more to it, but that's just kind of the ones I want to highlight. There's a lot of good stuff coming out this week. There's a lot of good stuff that came out last week. Just can't contain it all in one 20-minute show. So that's the issues coming out this week. Let's talk about the news. It's Aura's birthday tomorrow, and you should get on here or get on her Facebook page and tell her happy birthday. If you don't know her, you can get on the Black Force Comics Texas page and say, happy birthday, Aura. We love you. Thank you for filming and doing so much for us. You're the best. You can tell her that personally. You know what? There wasn't a lot of news because Free Comic Book Day was this past Saturday. There might have been some news, but I was so wrapped up with Free Comic Book Day that let's talk about that. Did you go to Free Comic Book Day? Where did you go? I really want to know where you went, what you got. Here at the shop, we gave away 3 comics. Later in the day, we ended up giving away 5, so you should have came back and got some more. We have more comics still here if you're interested in getting a couple bit more. But yeah, let me know what you got, what you found, what kind of deals you got at other comic book shops. I know we were doing some deals here at the shop at Black Force Comics, but I know a whole bunch of other comic book shops were doing deals. So what kind of deals did you walk out with? What kind of comic books did you get? What kind of graphic novels did you get? I'm curious. I want to know. I want to share this joy with you. So, yeah, let me know what you got for Free Comic Book Day. News! The Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Tony Stark suits were released in their Iron Man glory. I'm on the fence about it. I'm not, I don't hate them. I don't love them. If you're going to do a live action relevant to today's time Power Rangers movie, you'd have to go with the Iron Man look. It makes sense. I mean, how else are these things just going to magically appear on you because you say some magic words? That's the way Extremis works. It just comes and it gets onto Tony Stark. Yeah, so that's that. Power Rangers have their new outfit. We saw it. Rita Repulsa is still Rita Repulsa. Did you go see Civil War? Let me know about that. We're going to be doing a review on that soon with Joe from Child's Play Games and Geekery. We just got to watch it a couple more times. That's going to conclude the news for this week because we have nothing else. I'm sorry. So let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're going to pick up this week, and we'll see you next week. Archimedes is just going off. What else? What other kind of news we have?